Hi, everybody. Good day, good love, good light, wherever and whenever you are. It's getting dark here in the foothills of Alabama and the Appalachian Mountains. And it's about, well, as you know, it's about 5 p.m. Central Time here. So hello, wherever and whenever you're joining us.
And Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year. So I'm Wendy. This is my husband, Dave, where we share our infinite joys, excitements, the way we express our language of love, our languages of lights. So if you're new to my channel, thank you for being here. And if you are and I should say an old friend, welcome back. And of course, we're all family. We're all soul family. So just wanted to kind of say hi. It was a Sunday afternoon, and we thought we would just go live and say hello and pull some oracle cards, wish everyone a happy new year. Tove se po shova e la ke teve se mola e la hana la kondaya e shiva so po aloho la kishina kianda e sete siva sono piacha tia ishana. So that is my greeting in light language, my the languages of the ever, I should say, ever expanding, or maybe I'm realizing all of the fractals that I am and that we are. So from my infinite source of love to all of you,
and in the spirit of the new year, I want to ask Wendy to share with you the 2024 light language calendar that is available on her website.
I thought you were going to do it.
Sure. So I will show page 1.
So that's the cover, actually.
If you've been following Wendy, you would see that she's been doing a lot of time, spending a lot of time doing artwork. And we have been digitizing them to make them available online, as well as to purchase the originals, digital sign prints and so forth. But we incorporated a lot of her artwork into the new calendar. So This is the cover of the digital one.
And everything you see here is available for download from my website. There's JPEGs available as the more Dave adds to the website.
And we do have printed versions available through Amazon.
Of the book itself.
Of the books itself. Plus a lot of your journals,
notebooks. We've got I always forget the name of those. I don't know why. The not notebooks. I don't know why I always
composition.
Composition. See, I always forget the word composition.
So
composition books.
So Wendy's created composition notebooks, which are basically empty inside with light language covers of various types. And the idea behind that is to take those with you and give them to your kids or relatives. And the light language helps expand their, not only the person who has them, but everyone around and anyone who sees them. And some are meant to just be really cool designs, but we know that they're really activating light language.
And if you're new to this whole thing about light languages and light codes and galactic glyphs and symbols and sacred circuitry, if you're new to the channel, it's something I've been sharing here on my channel, Languages of Lights, for almost 9 years. So that's something we'll be celebrating this month, actually, on the 16th of this month in January. So I've been sharing this for a very long time in just every way that I've ever been guided to. So it's kind of interesting how
And hello, Thoughts 11.
Oh, yes. I was going to say that. Hi, Thoughts 11. And 11, of course, 11/11s are my favorite number. I was born in the 11th month. Dave and I were married on 11/11 last year. So, or not last year, a year ago. We just had our first year anniversary in 2023. So we got married on 11/11/2022. So we're now residing here in Alabama. And for a variety of different reasons, we're finding out, energetic and so forth. But anyway, I wanted to mention about the light codes and so forth is when I started studying the sacred circuitry brought to us through Bashar, through Dear Lanka, in my own intention to connect with more of who I am, to connect with channeling, to connect with my our star families, that we know it's not a matter of if, it's that they're here. We're already becoming aware of them. And so anyway, all of this has been part of this YouTube channel is about sharing my, one day I woke up speaking light languages and my journey with that, and what's everything that has changed my consciousness in such a way that it was my way of connecting. Okay, what is light language? What does it do? And how does that relate to our everyday life? And what does it mean? And what do these symbols mean? And why am I getting them? Why am I so excited to share them? And I think really it's just like all of us, it's our way of sharing, in my way of sharing languages from different dimensions, different parallel realities, my higher self, our soul family. We're all connected in some way, shape, or form, because everything that's in creation, we're all a part of. And it's always been really exciting for me to connect the dots and show my synchronicities and what the repeating numbers mean, and how does that correlate to the sacred circuitry, and why am I downloading all of these symbols. And I think the reason was really, it's to help us all raise our vibration, where we see things in different perspectives, where we actively, consciously invite interdimensional, extra-dimensional, multidimensional connections and interactions and activities, and we're all capable of it. We're all receivers. We're all antennae.
And I'd like to also,
so that's part of what's in here.
I'd like to invite you all to participate in the conversation with us. So if you have any questions, we're watching the chat, so we will respond. And of course, if you want to get in touch with Wendy, you could get in touch with her through her website, languagesoflights.com.
And of course, all the links are in the description. And I wanted to say a little bit about this calendar too, that it was really Dave's idea last year to create this calendar. And what he did was he took like planetary alignments, like say, for example, I'll just use this as an example.
So this year it's mostly lunar
events,
stuff.
Right? So for example, there's a new moon on January 21st. So right here, you'll see there's a place for the new moon, and it shows now in the book form. Of course, it's in a book form, and this is the cover. So when you order it on Amazon in print, we were also talking today. We're going to download this for availability in digital.
This is
available. I mean,
now.
This is already available in digital format. I was thinking about something else we were talking about.
Some of the other books that we have, we might be making downloadable PDFs.
Into downloadable PDFs. So that's why. So this is available in both formats. But so
Amazon has increased their costs for printing, which means for you to buy it on Amazon, it's now costing more, and we haven't even reviewed the pricing.
As far as what?
So I'm pretty sure that if you go online now and buy something from Amazon, we're making more than $0, but typically it's only a couple dollars. We made the prices as low as we can, but because they've raised those costs to us, we've just figured it's cool to sell them on Amazon and to buy printed versions. But
why not give you guys the opportunity if you want to just
download it and print it yourself? It's a more cost-effective way for someone who's interested to be able to do it. So we might be moving some of our journals and other things to digital format
and into PDF format, so that you guys can download them
directly online.
Yeah, so that you guys can print them the way that you want, when you want, how you want.
So this year we put one of Wendy's artworks for every month.
So for every month, you'll see the actual monthly calendar, and these are sacred circuitry symbols that I have written over the years, drawn over the years, that Dave incorporated into the calendar that correspond to each of the, say, the lunar events. And then on each page, I've just simply added a small picture of some of the artwork that I've been working on. Every piece of my artwork also contains like light codes, sacred circuitry, and all of the things that go into the actual original artworks as far as my Reiki energy. Maybe I can say it that in a simpler way. My light languages, my love, when I'm painting and drawing, I'm sharing sort of like my the version of consciousness that I'm seeing and other dimensions. And I've even dreamt over the years of symbols just floating in the room and all over the walls and all over everything. And I used to dream that way a lot. And all of it was activating for me. Like I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the mechanics of it necessarily, but I knew that it was, I'm getting the goosebumps that I get. I knew that it was changing and raising my vibration, which gets into that whole, we're all raising our vibration moment by moment. We're not changing the world beyond. We raise our vibration to reside on a parallel version of reality, in which is more vibrationally resonant with our core highest vibration. And so as I invited all of this stuff, I would get more of it and then share it with the simple intention and not even intention necessarily, but the passion to share it simply because I knew somehow it was helping us all connect to higher versions of ourselves, to understand how to better navigate through the world. How do we literally transform our belief systems that aren't serving us, which we're hearing all the time now. All of these, all of the spiritual people who are out there sharing how to live happier lives, how to live, healthy, wealthier lives, how to be more positive, how to live in joy and happiness, despite what's going on in the real world.
So when Wendy decides that she's going to spend some time doing artwork, it's essentially like a channeling session.
Yeah.
So she is receiving.
I think that's the way it is for a lot of artists.
Information. Well, that's how inspiration and creativity happens. Except, as Wendy has been channeling for a while now, she's much better at making those connections.
Manuel, hello. Love and light to you as well. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all your messages. I really wanted to take a moment to appreciate you and to tell you how much I appreciate that. Thank you.
So as a part of the process of the connection that she's making, doing the artwork, she's receiving information. She's receiving visions. She's receiving a story that wants to be shared.
That's a good way to put it, galactic stories, because that's how they are.
Becomes artwork. And the energy of that story then becomes part of the artwork. And when someone views the artwork, they're really receiving Wendy's symbolic version of that story, of that energy. It also will allow the viewer to connect to that frequency where the story came from. And if it's relevant to them, that is usually a sign that they enjoy looking at it, and they will form a connection, whether or not they know it or not, to that information, to that story, to that higher understanding and higher consciousness. And it could be a collective, it could be a individual, it could be.
Well said.
Thank you. And that's sort of the point of it. And we know that if you're inspired to create something, there has to be someone to receive the creation.
And I wanted to thank you, those of you out there who have already purchased the downloaded version of this. So I wanted to say that out loud too. If you happen to be watching, I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate it.
These are the first 3 pages.
Maybe you could show it a little closer.
So this is the first one.
There you go.
And
underneath, and it's hard to see probably close up, but even this painting
and
includes
underneath there's sort of log entries for journaling what might have happened on these particular days. So you could also record that. So this is the second one. This is February.
I think you printed out the first 3 pages.
And this is March.
And there's a lot of, for example, when I painted that painting, I was literally feeling, I was immersed in Sirius energy, the Sirius star system energy, the energy of the dolphin, the whale. And I didn't even know what I was painting until it started happening. And then I could feel it.
So the January one is entitled Angel Numbers, Light Codes of the Multiverse. So,
and that one actually includes a lot of light codes, a lot of, and when Dave said that about, when Dave said that about stories, that's one of the things that I've shared several times on my channel over the years, is about that, how many of these, like one symbol, for example, I could write a whole page of symbols, yet each one of those symbols could come from a different, say, dimension. It could contain a whole story within one symbol, just like a lot of the symbols, like, say, for example, we look at the Om symbol, and I think most of us recognize it, and it automatically sort of emits its own energetic pattern. It because of what we've collectively decided for it to mean. Now, what's weird, I say interesting about these light codes is we don't have a collective already idea of what it is that we're looking at. And I think that everything is relative, but yet subjective to the, not subjective, what do I want to say, that each person's going to feel it differently. Just like looking at a piece of art. Some people may look at something and be like, oh my God, this is horrible. And, or it doesn't resonate with me at all. And then there's, so I think a lot of,
and what other people might say
is just,
oh my God, this
is just wonderful.
Touches me so deeply.
Exactly. So anyway, that was one thing that we wanted to share was,
so as you can tell, Wendy's very excited about her art and sharing it. So part of her following her highest excitement is doing it, sharing it, talking about it, watching videos all day sometimes about art and the metaphysical aspects of artwork.
Well, and also how it affects us emotionally, how it helps us navigate through how it brings up belief systems, how it helps bring out things that we know that the human collective has used artwork and that expression in any kind as therapy, if we want to call it that, and whatever we want to associate with that idea. I think nowadays we tend to call it healing. Some people want to call it past life healing. But what I will say is that it is very interesting to me, the emotions and information that I receive just while doing this practice. And but the symbols themselves, I can get different information on different days from different star systems, different entities, energies.
And one of the things that Wendy does is she offers sessions that allows you to connect one-on-one with Wendy and connect to all of these things to become more familiar with light language, to help you, if you're interested in actually forming a light language bond with your higher self, bringing that out, discussing all of these things. So, of course, sessions are available through her website as well. And I'm just looking at
so I've got a bunch of decks of cards here.
So does anyone have a suggestion on what deck we want to pull for all of us?
Well, we got to show people, I guess, what we've got. But I figured I'd pull some anyway.
We have dragons, we have travelers, we have spirits,
sacred traveler, animal spirit,
we have earth, and we have angels.
And ancestors.
So if anyone wants to let us know which one they want us to pull
well, it's
apart
funny
from
too
first.
because we went.
And in the meantime,
we went to the Chinese
Don't
restaurant.
forget to take out your trash.
Our trash reminder. So we went to the Chinese restaurant
for Thursday.
and what day is today anyway? Sunday. Oh, well, it used to be on a different day, but that's a different story. So anyway, we went to the Chinese restaurant and I thought, oh, one of the things I've been wanting to do for a really long time is share fortune cookie fortunes. And I think I even bought a bag of online, I think, of fortune cookies just so I could, pull them out. And I thought, oh, well, let's do a fortune cookie today. And then I grabbed my dragon deck because I don't know, for some reason, why I think we associate, well, of course, the Chinese dragon and the colorful festivals and things. So anyway, I was thinking about that, and so I thought, well,
our Chinese restaurant.
I was going to make a video of driving
in
from
town,
here to there.
which is great that it's so close and the food's pretty good. So these are just some of the funny synchronicities that we experience every day. Our Chinese restaurant has writing on the walls, wallpaper.
Are we sure though?
I'm positive. So, because I'm well learned in these things.
This is okay.
So, our Chinese restaurant has got wallpaper that sort of looks like when you walk in. It's got like the Chinese symbols and gold lettering and all this other stuff, typical that you see at a Chinese restaurant. But when you go in and you sit down and you look at it close up, it's actually Egyptian hieroglyphics. And
we wondered if anybody even realized that when
I don't
put
think
up the wallpaper, because it does look very.
So I asked a Chinese person who either worked there or owned there if she could tell me why that was, and she looked at me like I had 3 heads.
Like I have no idea what you're talking about.
But anyway, it's funny.
We thought it was funny.
Our interest in connections, with Egypt and ancestors and
because we've done
Atlantis and things like that. It's just
we've done really a lot of videos about that and about Egyptian and actually the shamanic spirit. That's where that whole art came from. Was shamanic spirit was as I was also I also learned that the shaman were in. There's so much to share about that idea in shamanism, but one of the things that I didn't realize was how deeply shamanism was in Egyptian culture, and that there were literally Egyptian shaman. And I've had many channelings, downloads, meditations, visions of seeing me in many shamanic different roles throughout, it must be something that excites me to do throughout many of my parallel lives. But
and we'd love to hear any synchronicities and stories you have to tell.
And yes, and I was going to say too, and these have roses, which often is the case on the outside of the wrapper. And my whole bedroom upstairs, when we moved in this house, the room was pink, and I happen to also already have a lot of rose motif kinds of things. So sort of roses is kind of a thing with us. And I have like rose oils and rose, and anyway, so yeah, so maybe there's something about the rose and something that somebody may identify with as well. So let's see here. And I'm not going to eat the cookie. I'm just going to read the fortune. And I also have runes. I'll have to tell everybody my crystal story another time about my crystals. Okay. Oh, it's also, which is interesting because the backside is actually in, I don't know, it's in another language, but I'm not sure what that is. Maybe, is that French? I'm not entirely.
I think we decided it was probably Spanish.
Yeah, but this doesn't look like, I know Spanish words in that. Anyway. Okay, anyways. Ooh, okay, here we go, guys. You will take a chance in the near future. Something I heard today too, in a reading that I heard today, something was talking about taking chances. But so if somebody out there, you will take a chance in the near future. And well, here, I'll read the numbers too, just because everybody knows how much I love numbers. The numbers are, and these may resonate with you guys for some reason: 2, 7, 19, 29, 31, and 39. And if I get really excited, I'll add them all up together and maybe see what that adds up to, because I like to do that too. So, unless somebody wants to do it for me.
So there's a funny story which I'll tell because it's short.
Oh, and the engineer one?
We didn't know that in Alabama there's no lottery.
Oh my God.
We went to a gas station.
I was so
one day and we thought, let's get a lottery ticket. We never buy lottery tickets. And we said, we want to buy a lottery ticket.
She's looking at me like, she says, we don't sell lottery here. And I was like, oh, okay. I said, I didn't realize. I didn't realize. I said, I just kind of assumed. And I'm from Illinois, and they're just on every corner, And so.
In Pennsylvania and Florida.
Oh, yeah, Florida too, right?
But we thought she meant they don't sell them there.
Sure, at the store.
But she said, no, we don't have them.
The state of Alabama does not have a lottery. And I was like, well, it's just crazy talk.
So we have these numbers. A lot of people get
so I thought, well, here you
play
go.
Those numbers, but we can't.
So I can't play any numbers here, but I thought, well, maybe somebody wants these numbers, or maybe they're going to mean something to someone, or I don't know. So I was like, I just want to share. And that's the exciting part about why I love what I do on this channel for all these years. It's just because it's fun to share it and see, well, is it a synchronicity for somebody? And is it a message? Is it going to help them?
Yeah, I don't know what this is. This is like a combination of French and
it is. It's another
Latin.
I could try to show it you guys up close,
but
it's
avouer est moete pardonarni.
Now that sounds like more like Spanish.
If you could speak Spanish more fluently, it might sound like
Spanish. It could be that this is, I don't know.
But this says confessions of our faults is the next thing to innocence. Confession
of our faults is the next thing to innocence. Well, I think one of the things that I just want to say on that really quick is this, I believe, also this year of number 8, the sacred circuit for number 8 is flow, and the idea of the flowing of the energy. And I think this year feels like the year where people are going to learn what that means in so many new ways to them. This idea of flow and flow of energy and flow of information and going with their own flow. And this whole idea of confession, and that idea, for me, it's about understanding so much more clearly, and I'm saying this from a personal standpoint, that self-love and forgiveness of us, of ourselves first, has been the number one sort of message for me about going with the flow and being easier and being more present and being in the now. The more we stay in the present, the more we're in the now, the more we begin to understand how we're creating our past from the now, and what that means quantum mechanically, what that means from a physics standpoint. And the more we begin to process these higher thought patterns, it allows us to see it from that standpoint, where we're literally waking up from this idea that this is all that we are, that we're just a human body, and that we die and go to heaven. And there's so much more that we're learning. And I think that the more we allow ourselves to follow our flow, trust our inner guidance, and doing the things that we love, and stop looking for validation, permission, forgiveness, in all of those things, because all of those things keep us from not living in the now, and forgiving myself for my perceived past. When I'm looking at it from a quantum physics standpoint, and I begin to understand I'm creating that past from now, that was not the me that I am now, is not that individual that we are our consciousness having this experience, and that there are so many dimensions of beings. We talk about Pleiadians and the Lyrians and this and this and the Syrians and this star system and that star system and Orion, and how they all went through all of this and how they have transformed and how they have, we will be the channeled, we will be those guides, we will be the star guides for other star systems that are going through all of this. And so we look at them as something out there and something separate and something and we look to them as guides, and we look to them as higher dimensional beings, smarter, better, further advanced. Yet there are worlds and worlds of worlds looking at us going, how do they do this? How do they forget that they're not part of source energy, to the point that they literally believe there's things they can't accomplish?
Hi, Rock Warrior. Happy New Year to you too.
Hello.
And you're just in time to hear the magic numbers of my fortune.
Oh, yes. I was going to say, need your numbers.
11, 21, 23, 34, 36, and 37.
All right.
So
there you go. Started with an 11. So
somebody play those numbers.
Here you are, thoughts 11. So it started off with an A. So there you go. And so with that, let's pull a dragon card. I was just kind of feeling. I know the lighting's really bad in here, you guys. Sorry about that. We didn't bring our lights, and we didn't bring our. We're just like, let's do a video live and see what happens. And actually, we were thinking about doing like a Sunday live thing. I was considering Sundays like maybe afternoonish time, because I wasn't sure about what would be a good time for people, from the Pacific Coast, and then also the East Coast, and then also I have a lot of friends. So hi, if you're across the pond, tell us where you're coming from. I have a lot of friends, in Europe, so I always like to do things a little bit earlier in the day here in the States, so that people from Europe, it's not too late, for them to come. Oop, this one fell out. Air Dragon helps you rise above earthly matters. Well, that's kind of what we were talking about today, that when we allow that higher consciousness, when we allow that connection with our higher selves, when we understand that letting go just means letting go of the idea that we have to think it all through, and that we're the ones. Going with the flow means knowing your higher self's got you. Your higher self's got you. Your higher self is you. It's your parachute. So. And Dave and I, we talk about this stuff all the time, because I'm saying that doesn't mean that we're not going to have unpleasant experiences and that we're just going to sail through everything. But yet we learn to rise above these earthly matters. And we know that, as much as I even sometimes hate to admit it, circumstances aren't the deciding factor for our happiness. It just isn't. It's the opposite. And that's what I think, okay, what we're waking up to. Sorry. I know I'm not in a very good spot. Let me read it for a second here. Helps you rise above the earth, above earthly matters. It's a beautiful blue and purple too. Communicate honestly. Brings inspiration and hope. See life from a higher perspective. Do you see how beautiful? Here, I'll let you go close up, because I'm on my little recliner here. So for me to bend forward is kind of.
Dios, Myos.
Hi.
Love you guys.
We love you guys too. And this is one thing we don't do very often that I want to do more of, just kind of like hang out, And I know the lighting's so bad in here. You guys probably can't see that at all, can you?
Your dragon. And the other card?
Oh, and the other one. Oh, fire and water. Okay, I'll show you guys first. There, so you can kind of get a somewhat of a look at it. And I have no idea what this looks like. Well, I guess I could. I should look on my phone. What does it look like on camera? But
you should look. I'm looking.
Fire and water dragon, and it's a bunch of a lot of pine trees are lined at the bottom of this image, which is really cool, because I was just talking today about all the pine trees that surround us here where we live. Like every window we have looks out at trees, and it's very mountainous here. Prepare for change and to move forward quickly. Expect the unexpected, have fun. And I will say, as I've said so many times before, every one of these messages is for me, it's and all of us. And so if you're here, if you're listening, it doesn't matter when, there's something here, a nugget, a tidbit, something for you to take away. Let's see if I can see. I gotta go closer. Here we go. I know the colors are really bad, but there's the trees. I felt it important for some reason to show you guys the trees. And I'm wearing my very colorful, awesome, cool jacket from my sister. It was a birthday gift from my sister, which I absolutely, I don't know if you guys can see the sun motif. I'll show it to you another time, but it's so much fun, so colorful. And it's got all these really awesome symbols all over it. So it was like, it's like totally me, and I love it so much. And so, yeah, it's very colorful. So it reminded me a little bit of just the color of
there's
the
deck. There's a matching mini version, right?
Yes, and I'll show you guys that too. That was such a fun thing too. So I'm seeing, so this has like bright greens, bright oranges. So I'm feeling, of course, that, the sacral chakra, the heart energy. There's some yellow in here with the solar plexus energy, the trees, the idea of the fire and the water, the sun and the water, growth, expansion, change. And this is almost an infinity sign, almost. So I was thinking about the year 2024 and how it's the number 8, and how the sacred circuit for 8 is flow. And this year about how the idea of more of us going with the flow in so many, in ways that we never, I guess, interpreted that word before, if that makes any sense.
Let's
go to another one. And I, for some reason, too, really want to grab a spirit animal card too.
That is.
So here.
That's.
We do the Sacred Traveler next.
Sacred Traveler. Then,
so we'll go with our intuitions
then Earth,
here.
Then Animal.
And this Angel. Orange is just like, I've been drawing. And what's weird too is I've been finding myself painting a lot of oranges and things lately too, and yellows. And so I know when I'm when my shock, whatever, if I'm immersed in a particular color, I know that even that's speaking to me, and that color would speak to someone else. And so anyway, sometimes it's really hard to articulate all the things that I experience in a day. I don't know. I think for every one of us, our own revelations are so personal. Okay. Okay. I need to drink water. So yeah, we've been wanting to do this maybe every Sunday or something, just to do hangouts, just to hang out and pull cards and we were actually considering whether or not just to do a broadcast or do it in a Zoom room and let people hop in the room if they want to come in. So we were kind of, because we've done it all different ways. Faraway places. Oh, and this is the Sacred Traveler deck. Just to show everybody kind of what it looks like. She's in a ship with her lantern, showing her the way.
So I'm excited to tie them all together.
Faraway places. Oh, and this has symbols like even, okay, this looks like Oriental symbols on this little flag here. Get ready for new horizons. So, did we say, we didn't set the other card aside. I should have done that.
Dragon.
So,
what were they?
Getting ready to take a chance.
Fire and water.
So yeah, the idea of that, yes, both of these, so that we've got the kind of the full story here. So enables your life to flow with loving force. I didn't even see that, you guys. Flow. Enable your life to flow with loving force. See, there was a reason I had to read that card again. Flow. Allow your life to flow with loving force. How do we greet our earthly matters now from a perspective of flowing with love, so that we're not judgmental, There's no need for forgiveness. And the air dragon helped to help us rise above the earthly matters. So that's very different colors. Very throat chakra, third eye chakra energy. And then the faraway places. Get ready for new horizons. And it's a ship getting ready to sail. And look at the symbols. I guess that could be look like Oriental symbols. Here we're just talking about Chinese, and then we're talking about sacred symbols and circuitry. Faraway places, taking a chance. We're all being, and faraway places doesn't necessarily mean that you have to travel someplace physically either. Faraway places, one of the things that I discovered when I first started like waking up, and that was like around 2011. So that's how long I've been sharing this stuff. And what was I going to say about that?
Faraway places.
You don't have to leave. And thank you. That's what I discovered the most was I couldn't believe all the faraway places I could go, and I didn't have to go anywhere. All I had to do was close my mind and open my heart and open my intention. And boy, the faraway places. That's why I say.
And also meeting all of you
from faraway places. Oh, thank you for saying that. Because that was one of my intentions. I started feng shuiing my house years ago when I started understanding about feng shui, about setting things in place in your home to initiate a specific manifestation. So isn't that so much like what we're already learning to do? But that was one of the first steps for me, was that idea. And I remember putting things on my desk that represented things from all over the world. And my intention, I get goosebumps because of what happened. Like, it wasn't but I want to say maybe a few months that I literally started doing it and putting places in the house and went by the Bagua map. And if you're not sure about what any of this I'm talking about, if it's excited to you to look into it, then follow that thread, because it really does. It teaches us all a little bit a lot about intention and manifestation and permission slips and using an object with the power of your intention, placing it in a particular place to ignite that manifestation. And it was then I started understanding about that. And when I placed all of these objects on this desk that I had and I kind of even said it, I think, out loud. And this was what I was just finding, like, other channelers and Bashar and light languages and even right before that. And I think that's how I found it, was by putting all the stuff out there and setting the intention. It was like all of a sudden I was guided to, I started speaking light languages. Then I was guided to start this YouTube channel, then start sharing all the stuff that I was experiencing. And all of a sudden I was meeting people from all over the world in faraway places. And I was just overflowing with love and appreciation and gratitude. And also, hey, wow, like, that worked. That actually worked.
So interestingly, we're talking about the faraway places doesn't necessarily need to mean you're going to faraway places, because as I look more carefully at this card, it actually looks like sailors brought goods to you from faraway places.
You know what?
Because these things look like they're for sale, and I see what might be potatoes, a basket of potatoes. There are watermelon.
Oh my gosh!
And there are pumpkins.
This is even weirder.
Maybe cucumbers.
Synchronicity for you and I and our message, because one of the things that we talk about is whether or not we want to, we both grew up near cities and wanted to live in nature and trees. And one of the things that we talk about all the time is the because when you live in a rural, and I'll tell you, a lot of the United States is just open. Like there's not, you think that there's something on every corner, and there just isn't, unless you're in the cities and towns. And we talk about that a lot, about resources and restaurants, and that when you live in a small town in a rural area, your options are limited. And I think that that's the case. We're discovering that all around the world, that this is the case, that it's not just here. But anyway, so we talk about the idea of, well, we don't want to live in the city, but we want to be able to have these options. Well, all of a sudden, by placing the intention and just letting it go, not really even doing anything except for maybe a little legwork, for example, online. All of a sudden now, Dave, because we put that out to the universe, restaurants are coming to us. There's a food trucks that come to town now. There's a food truck that comes and brings lobster. There's a, so it's like, okay, maybe we don't have it here, but it's coming to us. How blessed are we here? I can have my groceries delivered from the grocery store. I can have anything delivered I want pretty much from Amazon anytime I want. Dave's discovered some great sources for better meats, better quality food.
And that's shipped to us.
That's shipped to us.
We found this wonderful little coffee shop, and the
that too.
The girl who owns it, so great.
She's so wonderful.
She roasts her own coffee. She used to. It was from a nearby town, but she would deliver coffee to us pretty much whenever we wanted it, included in the coffee price, and
drives it to my door.
Now she has a shop right downtown from us.
Like
she opened it up, away. So now it's even easier for us to go get coffee if we ever needed to, except we buy a big bag of coffee.
Yeah, because we really like coffee. So you want to buy us a cup of coffee. But yeah, we do. But that's one of the things that we manifested too, was we both love coffee so much. And
it's less expensive than buying
it is. And they're fresh roasted beans, and it comes to our door. And it was like, so now we're working at okay, we need a bakery. We need to find a really good bakery to somebody, have a bakery move into and then
with the ingredients.
Was it just a week or two ago, a little bistro opened downtown, which we still have to go patronize.
Yeah.
And so, because I want to support our local people, so I'm appreciative. But you see what I'm saying? We're
asking for these things, so we have to act upon them.
Exactly.
So,
and the manifestation of the idea that here we think we have to go to faraway places to find these things, yet it's all in our consciousness.
So I'm sitting here having this conversation, listening to what Wendy's saying, and I know what the next card is, but Wendy doesn't know yet.
Miracles. Expect the wondrous to emerge. And I think that this is a really good card to kind of, this is really good. Miracles. Mm-hmm. And actually our puppy, Abby, her middle name's Miracle, just because of the circumstances of her own, of us coming together, even though, of course, we know that was prearranged too. But miracles, expect the wondrous to emerge. And I think that that's what this message is about too, is that when we expect the wondrous to emerge and we open ourselves to that and go with the flow of our higher selves, and knowing that as long as we go with our highest joy in that moment, no matter what it is, even like doing this video right now, I actually have a little version of an Aladdin's lamp. Miracles. What miracles? Well, one, I'm not also hearing, there's so many things I hear at once. Okay. What are already miracles in our lives that perhaps we're not identifying as miracles? What is it that maybe the simple things that we, kind of like the parking place when you get the parking spot, what is it that there are all these little things that are happening that we're like, okay, synchronistically happening and going with the flow? are we not still seeing as miracles? Because we seem to think that it has to be something big and an enormous change, and that's just some big miracle. When we begin to recognize that the little things are the miracles, and that's what actually propels us to invite more of those miracles.
So part of the message too is the idea that miracles are really the norm, and we've just been taught that miracles are uncommon and unusual, and we're not worthy of having miracles happen to us all the time.
That too.
But because thoughts create things and beliefs create reality, if we believe that miracles are abound, everything is a miracle all the time, miracles are all around us, we then could see them as miracles, and we could allow for those miracles to manifest in ways and for things that we otherwise would say that has to be a miracle. That could never happen. But in reality, all of those things could happen. And the miracles is just the way things are.
It is actually the natural way of things, that it always is that way, yet it's our belief systems. And this is one of the things that we're learning as we wake up, is that when we talk about how, okay, you create your own reality. Well, what does that mean? Well, what you put out is what you get back. Well, the more that we focus on things that we don't prefer, the more that we're going to see that reflection in our circumstances. And we're learning more and more. And there's so many aspects that we can go to this too, because then I talk about the things that happen to us that, like, oh, well, how did I put that vibration out? So that's a lot of other layers that we like to, dive into a little bit more deep. But
now we move to Earth
magic. Okay. Earth magic. I know that's not very clear. Oh, okay. Oh boy. Which one did you draw first? This one?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, so the first one is Gaia, nurturing. One of the things that connecting more deeply with Gaia, with Earth, is that being in nature, appreciating Gaia, is nurturing. It is nurturing to us in so many ways, and this picture is so deep, and it you guys can see it. And there's a weird glare on here too. So there's so much depth in the information here that, okay, so not only is Gaia nurturing, but then as we nurture Gaia, and we, like we were talking about today, Dave and I were just talking about planting and flowers and trees and things like that. And this two-way nurturing, that when we connect with nature, connect with Gaia, and how everything that nurtures us comes from Gaia. Everything, the food, the flowers, the trees, the everything. So, and how nurturing that is, and how, it's such a miracle when we think about, when we really think about it, because I even read that, and I think, and I'm just paraphrasing, but the idea that if Gaia can survive without us, but we can't survive without it. If man were to disappear from the earth, it would do just fine. However, if all of that disappeared, we wouldn't be fine. So I think that this idea of miracle, and how nurturing Gaia is, and how by us nurturing Gaia as well, creates such a reflection of an exchange. And I think that a lot of I'm really, the biggest message here is this whole idea that it can survive without us, but we can't survive without it. And that the miracles that we see before us every day are what nurtures us, and how much I love being also in nature. There's a few other things that I was thinking about on this, but I have a lot of things going through.
Yeah. So it can be said that we are nature, and Gaia is also a reflection of our nature within us. And while Gaia nurtures us, we nurture her. So it's all about the relationship and reflections that you create.
And it's been raining quite a bit the last few days, so the sun came out this morning. So
and I think I saw a rose flower start.
Oh, that's right. It was weird too. And here it is, the beginning of January. And then dawn, new beginnings. I'm up a lot at dawn, and today I specifically wanted to spend time out in the sunshine, because the sun hasn't been out for several days. Dawn, new beginnings. And with every new year, of course, there's the idea of new beginnings. I feel every day too, when I'm looking out at dawn, that that it is that representation of a new day, a new opportunity to do something differently, new beginnings. There's so much with 2024 with respect to also the idea of being the opening the door to the what was it, the first year counting down to open contact with other species from other planets. And I feel that this dawn, this new beginning, has something to do with opening the crack of that door as well. And every day I ask, how can I, and the answer is always going to be, how can I best serve? By doing the thing that excites you the most, moment by moment, and taking it as far as you can take it. And out of all of the opportunities you have, what excites you the most, and what can you act on now? And then go on to the next thing and the next thing. And yet we seem to complicate that. And yet every day we're given the opportunity for that idea and for that new beginning. But we forget it's every moment, every single moment we get to decide how we want to respond. And that is, I think, the new dawning, the new beginning for us as a species, as a collective consciousness. I think it's a new beginning for all of us, for this new way of thinking. And we probably say this every year, but yet there's something more poignant this year. There's something more. And for me,
well, we're learning more and more that we literally create the reality that we want to be part of. So, last year, the year before, we might have thought we created our reality. We might have thought we understood how we created our reality. But as we grow more spiritually, we learn more and more, because it's being demonstrated back to us more and more obviously how we create our own reality, and how our actions in the physical world create the mirrors and reflections of the reality that we're putting out there. And I'm also just reminded that 2024 is an 8 year, which is also the sideways symbol of infinity. And infinity are infinite cycles that always return to the center. And when
Yes.
you look at it from one point of view, it looks like an infinite, never-ending cycle. But when you look at it, you turn it this way, it actually then becomes always rising. And the center point allows you to align with all the things that the accumulation of things that you've learned over the cycles, but you're always moving upward. So, as Bashar would say, it's always,
going up.
It's
up.
always going up.
Not
in a straight line.
What was the analogy I was given yesterday from Willa Christine, channeled by Daryl? Like, I'm deeply connected with her and that idea, and that's a whole nother discussion. But she said to me yesterday, just in telepathically, I guess.
Hi, Patricia.
Oh, hi. Mwah. She says, she calls us cookies because we're all still baking. And she says, but you can never how did she say that? You can never unbake yourself. So, and that's what she meant was, you're all cookies and you're cooking and you're rising and you can, once a cookie becomes a cookie, once a cake becomes a cake, it can no longer go back to the individual ingredients of which it was. And so she was saying this, literally the same thing. Because I was feeling things about myself, and she said, don't forget, Cookie, that once you've already started baking, once you're baked, and I don't mean that way, but
so Wendy and I had a little bit of a philosophical discussion about different ways of looking at things.
This is one of the reasons why we wanted to do live stuff, because we do this all the time.
Especially if you take time out of the equation and everything is here and now. But I think the idea also is when you have flour and water and chocolate chips, hint, hint, for chocolate chip cookies, for instance, eggs and whatever else goes into them. Once you make the batter and put it in the oven, it's now turning into a cookie. Well, the idea of a cookie can never be the idea of flour and water. You can never go back to the individual ingredients. The idea of a cookie is now a cookie.
Yes.
And as the cookie bakes, it becomes a cookie. And when the cookie is complete, now you have a completed cookie. And I think part of the idea in this whole spiritual experience we're having is the cookie never finishes baking. It just becomes more and more of the cookie that you hope it to be.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah,
at some point you take it out and you eat it.
Oh my goodness! Sorry, I need a drink of water.
And now it's time for your animal spirit.
Oh, okay. We didn't do it.
That's on your side.
Yeah, we didn't do magic yet.
Huh?
Angels and
no.
Angels and ancestors? No, I know. I said we didn't do this one yet.
No, this is last.
Oh, you're gonna do that one last?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay.
We did Earth Magic.
All right.
We just did Earth Magic.
I know.
Now,
I wasn't sure which one we were gonna do last. Okay.
As we're nurturing the earth, as we walk upon it,
and this is the
experience our new beginnings, we will see who wants to join us on our path with the spirit animal oracle.
And this is on the front is the stag, with feathers and all kinds of fun things hanging from its.
It says dream catcher deer.
That's awesome. Okay.
Hey,
wow.
Is that the first card?
Well, okay. Wow. This is really funny too, because I turned it over. The bottom card is horse's spirit. So we've been watching a lot of kind of this vet that's on television. And anyway, he works on a lot of horses. I've always been very tied to the horse spirit. I'm also chose Sagittarius to be born in the sign of the Archer, which is half man, half horse. I know a couple of friends that are literally communicators, horse communicators, animal communicators. And it's funny because this is also number 33. And I think, I think I actually even pulled this card. Freedom is yours. Freedom is yours. The horse spirit, which I think I really did. I think I pulled this card very recently.
Yeah, I did not shuffle these.
So that's probably why maybe it was just still sitting on the bottom. But a lot of times I do like to look at the bottom card because it's as if that card is there when I turn it over to say, okay, somebody still needs to hear it.
Yeah, we were actually watching somebody today, maybe for the first time. I think that.
Oh, she was awesome.
They're always looking at the bottom card first and the top card first,
and then before shuffling. So, so this is a freedom is yours. New beginning, taking chances, nurturing yourself in nature, allowing the cycles and seasons. I know for us, it's we just started our winter season. If you're in the southern hemisphere, I know you're into your summer season, which is very different perspectives. I thought about that when you were drawing the 8 symbol, that it's always at center point, that from the center point you can see everything.
I'm being mesmerized by the holotype on the backs of these cards.
Yeah, that is a holotype for sure. And it's just seeing the miracles. And
I was going to let you shuffle one pick.
And I don't know about you guys, but when I'm immersed in nature too, I'm always feeling like I'm in a faraway place. And maybe this is a message for some of us, some of you, all of us, to start more exploring. And maybe it is literal. Maybe you've been thinking about going to a faraway place. Dave and I have actually considered, do we want to move overseas? Do we want to stay in the United States? Do we want to stay in this state? Where do we want to be? What weather and temperature do we want to be? Does it need to be a faraway place, or can we find it here? What feels nurturing to us? What feels like the next new direction? And I'm just looking at how a lot of these things are also applying to you and I.
So it's funny because what came to mind when you're talking about that is your lighter.
Oh,
you have to show the lighter.
Oh, that was so funny. Where is it?
Because we're. And probably
just get ready to do this reading.
All of you will probably resonate with this idea because we're always thinking about where we're really supposed to be.
Here, you can show it closer than I can.
But this is
okay.
We just realized. Let me see if you can read this.
I don't know how close you could get it, but can you read it actually from?
Take me with you.
Take me with you. And I'm like, okay.
So the idea,
my
whole thought
alien
was,
ship.
Where do we want to live? What country do we want to live? Just take us.
And this is the funny thing.
Take us away already.
We've actually talked about.
We're ready to go.
We want to be in remote places because that's where the hybrid children are coming to, is to remote places. And then I look at the background of this picture, and it's mountains and big green trees, evergreen trees, and mountains in the background, just like it looks like right around us. And because I told Dave that, I said, well, maybe this is one of the remote places that the hybrid children would come. And then I started thinking about changing my vibration, all the billions of realities per moment, that as we get excited about these things, we then create we then move to the version of ourselves that becomes more in alignment with that reality.
Faraway places.
Could be space.
If you want to take it literally, get ready for new horizons. Not different horizons. New horizons.
New beginnings. And that's definitely looks like a horizon with the new beginnings, the dawn. And okay, this is really funny too, you guys. So we're at the Chinese restaurant.
Is that the?
Yes, and Okay, so a couple of things. We watched something just yesterday, something about $1 million mansions and what they look like. We just, it happened to
some guy that
goes and
goes
visits.
to visits.
He's got a YouTube
expensive
channel, and yeah, so he asks people if he can go and tour their mansions. And several of these mansions, at least one or two of them, had a koi pond. Today we're at the Chinese restaurant, and of course, what do you think they've got right inside the door? A koi pond. Why wouldn't they? One of the things about this is that just came to me is when I started practicing feng shui, one of the first things that they said was put a picture or some form of koi fish in your front entrance to attract the thing that's specific to the koi fish near your front door. And also and it was swimming. It happened to be a card that somebody had given me. So anyway, koi fish. So of course today we're there, and literally I'm staring into the koi fish pond this afternoon, looking at the fish and all the coins that are shiny at the bottom, and just feeling that idea of remembering koi and abundance, and putting that intention out there, and then having the experiences that come from that intention, and how those things manifested through my life. And then now here I am in the koi pond, and looking at it today, thinking about just the blessings and abundance and that symbol. So anyway, I just thought that was very interesting. And let me show you the card. Sorry. And the message on the card is koi fish spirit number 36. So we've got a 33 and a 36. There is always enough. And that, you guys, was exactly the message that I was receiving as I'm looking at this koi pond, is how no matter how do I say this? Everything I've needed, I've needed, there's always enough. There is no reason to feel ever that by having abundance that it's taking away from something else. That is an old way of thinking, an old way of being. It's an old paradigm. There's always going to be enough. And even in our darkest moments, when we really didn't know where that was going to come from, there was always enough. Just like the idea of that was another thing I read the other day, something about mana, that idea that it was provided. It was provided, that there's always enough. And looking in that koi pond today, and maybe you need to put a koi fish picture somewhere, maybe on your screensaver, maybe print one out, put it by your door, look up the feng shui of where to place these items in your home, to learn more about that idea. And so we've got the number, it's 33 and 36. So 369. So we've got that numerology going on here too, guys. 369, the magic numbers. So knowing in your heart, there's always going to be enough for you.
I would like to read this.
Yes, go ahead.
The oracle message: the koi fish who grows big within a small pond reminds us that within each of us is the potential for prosperity. The law of abundance ensures that prosperity is our natural state. So regardless of temporary outer conditions, you can call in prosperity and magnetically attract the opportunities and abundance you need. The message of the koi fish spirit is to begin to generate wealth within, with deliberate intention, no matter how small your pond may seem, and appreciate abundance wherever you see it. Outer conditions will come to reflect your inner prosperity. So begin to become the self who is comfortable with the wealth in all forms.
Ooh.
So I'm not going to read the rest, but I'm going to summarize a little bit about what it says, that when you're looking at the outer conditions, you're always looking at the past. The past could only reflect, the outer conditions could only reflect the past and not the now moment.
Exactly.
The now moment always contains more than what was accumulated.
Yes, what is
from
Abraham
the past.
say is what you're manifested now is old news.
It's all whatever.
It's old news.
So when they say the idea of circumstances don't matter, that's because that's old news. And I've never really I'm sure I must have read the Koi Fish Spirit.
I don't know if we have. Maybe not. I haven't read every card in here.
But I'm now looking at this in a new light. With the idea of
new beginnings.
Well, that any lack of abundance that you may think you see is really just an expression of the past, because there is a delay.
Yes.
In the reflection, we've designed in a delay in the reflection so we could see how it manifests. That's the point of us being here, the excitement of watching the manifestation happen. And we all want to make these miracles of manifestation happen in our lives. Well, if we can't see them happen and they just happen, what fun would that be? So we've decided that we would create this thing of time and space and allow there to be some time for that reflection to come back into our experience. So the idea that you're seeing less than your full abundance is really just a reflection of the past and not the now. So it also means that doesn't mean you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing now.
Yes. Because
you can't experience the reflection of the now moment in the now moment.
Yes. And I was thinking about something that Bashar had said, that we're not designed, we're only receivers and perceivers. We're not so we can only perceive what has happened. And how how do we feel about that reflection? What belief systems are filtering that particular moment and belief and reflection? And if we don't prefer it, we have that opportunity right then and there to change it. And then the next thing that happens becomes that moment's old news now. Now that next thing that happens is going to be based upon how we reacted in that moment, and that becomes our now future. That becomes our future.
And I want to read the last couple sentences, because this is sort of why we make these videos. As you give to others, your own sense of prosperity grows, and your outer conditions begin to shift into an alchemical reaction. Prosperity and love are yours to receive, experience, and enjoy. Believe it. So by sharing our joy and excitement and sharing all this information with you, that offers everyone else the opportunity to share in those energies. And we're also creating our own reflection in the now and allowing those things to reflect back to us.
Absolutely.
And without any insistence, because we know that we can't see the reflection of the now moment in the now moment, and there is only now. So the reflection itself is only there to guide you to decide how you want your now moment to be.
Yeah, we have these discussions like all the time. So, and that was one of the reasons why we wanted to share this stuff on a regular basis too, because we enjoy
the koi.
The koi.
You were just staring at a koi.
I couldn't even believe
like an hour ago.
Whole idea that we were just there looking at the koi fish, that I had this whole experience there, and then that memory.
Were you having a conversation with the koi?
I was. It really was funny, because Dave was, at the cash register, and I'm standing there at the koi pond, and I am just like, I was having a moment with these koi fish, and I was just, and this is where it gets really hard it's kind of like you get like 1,000 things like in a moment, and then I think, how in the world would I possibly describe in words what just happened? And it was only, how long you weren't even there? What, a minute or two? A couple of minutes. Well, that's how that goes too. A moment can be, but it was like this whole download that happens, while you're staying in the crash register. It was crazy.
I can't leave her for a moment.
I know, you just can't take me anywhere.
And you had a conversation with the fish, and you didn't tell me about it.
Well,
you said you had a moment with the fish.
I did. I did say I had a moment with the koi. I did.
Well, it was a very big koi, at least one, in a fairly small pond comparatively. But it was like up in the top of the water, like, with his mouth going like this to Wendy.
He was, like, totally. Yeah. So, you noticed that.
So it was talking to Wendy.
Hey, Morgan the Void. Hey, how are you? Glad to have you here. Good to see you. Okay. All right. So Dave decided we're going to save the angels and the ancestors. Is that the last one? I think that's the only deck I have in here right now. I have a lot of other decks. That's the only one I have in here right now. So
that's the last one.
And you probably can't see. I've got like all these cool like Maya symbols and all kinds of cool symbols on my pants.
So here's the angels. Oh, is this the one that you're supposed to read?
Oh yeah, I do. I do like, so indulge me. Okay, here's the Angels and Ancestors Oracle. And I only read Oracle. We only read Oracle because I have never studied the Tarot. I know, and each one is an archetype and each one has a meaning. I only do Oracle readings because I haven't studied the Tarot, but also because I like the vastness of information that I can get from all of these different cards. Guardians of the Four Corners, Mother in the Earth, and I love how this kind of ties into our whole reading today. Father in the Sky, Angels, Ancestors, Sacred Ones, I call on you and welcome you here now. That's what's written in the box. I set the intention, and this is what's so important, you guys. Set your intentions. I have a journal about that too. 52-week intention and manifestation book. So, and it's not dated, doesn't start in January and end in December. So it's 52 weeks, no matter what week you buy it, of any month, any week of the year, it's 52 weeks. So, and each one is also filled with every day, has light language symbols, activations, and a place for you to record your intentions, record your manifestations, record signs, symbols, synchronicities. I literally use mine all the time. And let me tell you guys, it works. It just does. Anyway, I set the intention that whatever is gained from the lessons learned from this tool will be dedicated to the growth of all beings in all places. And that's something else I recite at the beginning of my day, every day, which I'll share with you guys in a little bit, which I've shared several times. But the growth of all, dedicated to the growth of all beings in all places. So I say something similar to that every morning. Well, Dave is shuffling, and the back of the card. Oh, you bought. Okay, so the back of the card is an owl, which I've been really deeply immersed lately too in this owl idea, owl wisdom, owl energy, and the hawk. Well, I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I'll pull the hawk card on purpose. But a lot of hawk energy. So I guess I'm saying it out loud because maybe somebody needs to look up the hawk spirit or hawk animal totem or something like that. So hawk spirit. The back of this card is also a, would you call that a compass? Here, I'll show you guys. And I hope I don't fall face forward off the couch. The Elder. Okay, it's called Elder. Move beyond ancestral patterns. That was another thing I was kind of getting the message from my guides too about this idea of this year is also about the completion of, I don't want to call it just old patterns, but the idea that we now have the conscious ability to redesign our blueprint reality and move beyond our ancestral patterns, and kind of sort of in our face, my face a little bit, saying stop using the past as a reason to continue behavior patterns now. The point is to transform that now and to stop using that as a limitation of what we think we can and cannot do now. That it's time to rewrite whatever you perceive as a contract, whatever you perceive as a theme. We now have this conscious ability to say, okay, if I have gained and learned everything that I came to gain and learn on that idea, that theme, and I don't need to transition into non-physical reality in order to continue and move on to a new theme, new contract, new understanding, new experience, new beginning. And you can see this is very Aboriginal, very, what's the word? Indigenous. And obviously there's a lot of spirit animal stuff going on here too. If you look at the animals here, it's important. They're telling me, because it's also showing that the elders also understood the connection to those spirit guides. But there's this I don't want to use these cliche words and terms over and over again. And I've been looking for new like vocabulary myself to express the things that I want to say. And it's about appreciating and understanding that all of those things exist. Everything exists now, but we no longer need to focus there. That we can love it, appreciate it, but move beyond these ancestral patterns. And that with this new understanding, this new belief that you're new every now, that we are moving through billions and billions of parallel realities, moment by moment by moment. We can't even just take a moment. Billions of realities per moment. And it's really an infinite number. We say billions because, it's easier. Because we can't even conceive what infinite actually means. And when you go to one of those infinity mirrors, you can't really begin to explain to somebody how many reflections you see, can you? You can experience it, but you can't necessarily explain it to somebody who's never walked into one. And anyway, I felt like you had something to share.
Well, I will say what I heard.
Okay.
Every moment is a universe of infinite moments.
Oh my God. Well, but that's it. Wrap our minds around that. This is why when we say new beginnings, new patterns, new this, new that, it all sounds so cliche. And do we need the cards to tell us that? But sometimes I feel like, okay, this is a permission slip. It gives us permission to receive information from.
Well, to remind us of what we already know.
That's true. That's true.
Because all of this is just, this whole spiritual journey is really just remembering who we really are.
And we're just you having a conversation with you on a higher level. And even I will say, as a person who really enjoys receiving information and messages as a shaman, even through this tool, I want to say, though, that we're being guided in that you already hold the answers. You do.
So it's sort of funny. The back of these cards, I think, represents sort of a calendar with the moon phases.
Oh, is that what that is? I couldn't.
I think.
I couldn't look at it close enough. Yeah, you're right.
These are sort of sort of signs.
And are these
the different?
Are these also
phases,
the astrological signs?
I think so.
It's really hard to see if you guys. Maybe you can see up close. There you go.
Yes, some of them, but there's more than 12.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe if somebody else knows,
but
some else of what
right.
that represents, let me know.
Right.
But
the other card that came out, oddly enough, is
no way.
So we have Egyptian. I guess that's a hawk.
Well, I was just gonna say
this is sort of.
That's definitely.
This is the Anubis staffy thing.
Yes, it is, which we have that's a version of.
Merkaba.
That's a yes, and also
version of the
and his feather, high priest, intend and create. No wonder we saved this for last. High priest, intend and create. And the thing is had I not mentioned the hawk, this wouldn't have been as cool of a synchronicity. But
and we saw the hawk yesterday, was it?
Yesterday. I think it was because I told Dave I was standing at the kitchen window.
So we see hawks often.
Yeah, but this one
this morning, I think I saw them flying around the house, which is sort of common.
And I even told Dave, I said, I've been seeing a lot of hawks. I need to look up the hawk spirit.
Yesterday, it was sitting on a wire right outside
our house. And I was like, Dave, get the camera.
and they normally don't just sit on.
I mean, it sat there for a little while. And I'm sure it was hunting and, because it was overlooking the whole thing. But, I know better. I'm like looking out the window going, oh my God, there's the hawk again. And I've been having this hawk spirit. And then I literally could hear, and I'm being reminded because I did not pull, I need to pull the hawk spirit card. And so I've been reminded to do it and I haven't done it yet. And it reminded me, it was like I could hear it telepathically talking to me. And when we talk about nurturing and nature and Gaia and all that, this is what happens. You start to understand you're telepathic. You can already communicate with the animals. You can already communicate with the tree and the soil. It's just you've got to remember and believe that you can. And yet I was thinking about that. Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure if there's even a hawk in that one. I'd have to. Oh, you know what? I think there is. You might want to look through the book first before you look through the whole. Anyway, I have a couple of spirit animal decks, and so anyway, this is the kind of thing that I really enjoy doing too in sessions is exploring all these different pieces and parts of what comes up, whether it's symbols, whether it's cards, whether it's light language messages, or information that comes through, pictures, all kinds of things.
Hawk, number 32.
Oh, you did find it. Okay.
Let spirit be your guide.
Let spirit be your guide.
So number 32, hawk.
I'll see if I can find it.
Obviously, they're not in order.
No, they're never in order. No. Go ahead. You can read while I look.
Flying high above the landscape, the hawk sees both the big picture and the small details, observes the rain and the pond, as well as the cloud.
That's exactly the weather that it was. Like exactly.
And doesn't miss anything. When hawk spirit arrives, you are called to pay close attention to messages from spirit that can appear anywhere in any form.
There it is.
Listen to your intuition and keep your eyes open for synchronicities. The meaningful coincidences. This is like written for you.
I was just going to say, well, now I know why that message was for me too, about everything you just said.
The hawk spirit asks you not to dismiss the signs that spirit is sending to guide you. Lately, have you been hearing the same word or song, or coming across the same symbols here, there, and in the strangest places? Perhaps you hear a song on the radio with just the right lyrics pertaining to your query. Or you begin to notice uncanny billboards, license plates, or other places where repetitive numbers or words
oh my God
show up for you to notice. Pay attention to the animals that appear for you and connect with their symbolism. Spirit wants to communicate and reaches out again and again. When the hawk spirit appears, it is a sign to listen.
So, thank you all of you who are here in this here and now, to all of you who may watch this later and actually watch this all the way through. Yeah, this card must have been written for me because, and actually, this is really funny because this hawk spirit has been very, very prevalent ever since I moved to this house. It has been deeply a part of the magic here, and I will definitely be paying better attention to all of those things. Which I do all the time, and I love to share them. The whole you know, if you guys are, if you watch the community page on YouTube, you'll see it just happens to me all the time. I will just look at my phone and I see the repeating numbers, do the screenshot and post it, and because I just feel like there's a message there for me and for whoever else that I take it, and it's a code, it's a message, there is a meaning that we all place to these numbers, and so all of these things will be paying close attention to, and it's interesting that this particular hanging out today has felt a lot about paying more attention to numbers and repeating numbers and the idea of the number 8, and what does that mean to all of us this year? What when we look at that idea and we think about the number 8, and if we do apply the sacred circuit of flow, and then I was just thought of something else. I started watching. Well, I have been for a long, long time. Not to say that I religiously practice in the way that I prefer, because I don't. Let me just say that. But I was watching another 30-day practice, a yoga practice. And this year she named her program Flow. Now, didn't know, of course, as far as I know, she doesn't know anything about the number 8 and the sacred circuitry or anything like that. But how do I know if she knows or not? But I just thought that was very interesting that she starts the number 8 year with the idea of, she calls it flow.
So we know that the truths all float to the top. So the understandings all come to each in their own way. And it doesn't really matter that we have already sort of associated through numerology and symbolism some ideas of this being an 8 year and 8 being flow and infinite, eternal flow. She got the same message, just in her own way, whatever it might be.
And I think I've been hearing a lot of people say that lately. And of course, because that's now, and this is the beauty of where our thoughts go, where our energy goes, our thoughts go, are things that I'm going to manifest. So of course I'm going to see things in my reality that talk about flow.
Jan Aliva.
Hello.
This has been lovely. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for hanging out with us. My God, hello. Okay, we've been here way too long, you guys.
Yeah.
See, this is what happens. Dave always asks me, what's the worst thing you'll think is going to happen if you follow your highest joy and excitement? I'm like, well, probably that I'll end up for 2 hours on the internet doing card readings, or that I'll, it's so, but is that the worst thing that can happen? And how much fun is this?
Well, like you said earlier, we have these discussions anyway.
might as well share them.
And instead of going back and thinking, what did we talk about? Let's make a video. Might as well just go live and talk to you.
And directly. You know what? And and we know that there's a lot of people back to work now. We know that there's people that watch from all over the world. And so I'm always so cognizant of, well, what time should I do it? And I want it so it's, so that people have the opportunity. And so maybe it's before dinner or after dinner, or when they can relax, or when the kids are in bed. And I thought, how do you do that for everybody? And we just have our puppy, which I'll tell you, my day does, really flow around her flow, because when she's awake and it's her playtime or her, we take that time with her, and I don't want to say very seriously, but it's important to us that, that we appreciate, and that when we're involved with her, when we're present, we're present. And I know that may sound crazy, and not everybody has that opportunity. And Dave works remotely, so he has the opportunity to be home, and so she's used to us being home all day, both of us work, because we both work from home. And but it's kind of like, okay, when it's time to nurture our bodies and I have to stop what I'm doing and go make food, it's the same way. I'm present with what I'm doing. But I'll tell you, you guys, it happens to me all the time. I swear this is what happens to me when I go do yoga. And even Dave will say, well, so what? It's about I go to do yoga and I get in that vibration, and I swear to God, I will sit there and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, I got to start drawing. Oh my God, I got to make a video. Or, oh my God, I got to go look out the window. And then it's like, okay, am I this, shiny thing. Mm-hmm. And I think, and then I think, now wait a second. We're being guided to share, to take our highest joy and excitement moment by moment. And the thing is, if I don't stop and do the video, if I don't stop and do the drawing, then I feel like I haven't completed that circuit. Like it's sort of left hanging open. Like there's this energy that's wanting to release itself that doesn't know where to go because I didn't follow through on my highest joy and excitement right then and there. Now, does that often mean that I don't end up doing the yoga? Yeah. But does it mean that I was following my highest joy and excitement and decided to spend 15 or 20 minutes working on a piece of artwork, that while I'm working on it, I come up with another bright idea, or I come up with I get a download, or I get whatever. If I wouldn't have taken the time to do that, it wouldn't have led to that next highest joy and excitement. Does it matter that I'm drawing? Does it matter what I'm doing? No. What matters is the vibration of which that I'm in while I'm doing it. And that's what I think the biggest message for all of us right now is: stop judging what excites you and act on it. Even just take it as far as you can take it. Even if it's just for a minute, because you don't know what's going to happen in that minute.
It's sort of funny, but I'm just sort of thinking of a lot of the philosophy around yoga practice. And
it's about like being present and mindful.
And just the idea that you would be judged for the amount of yoga that you do is like completely contradictory of the entire concept of yoga.
Exactly.
So
isn't it?
The intention of doing the yoga, which leads to whatever,
is the reason you do yoga.
Of yoga. So if you don't actually have to do the yoga physical things.
So if that makes somebody out there feel better about yourself, tell them you're not alone. You're not alone.
The yogi master is going to be mad because you didn't do the yoga, but you achieved the state of peace that the yoga was taking you to.
Exactly.
But because you didn't do the yoga, you're in trouble.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. I know. It's crazy. Well, I think we should. Now it's been a while. Thanks to all of you who have stopped in, stayed, come back to watch this later. We really appreciate it. And so yeah, excuse me. We're just we're looking at doing this on a regular basis on Sundays. We thought maybe it would be a good day to, it's kind of a little bit more relaxing day, and people are kind of outside of their day-to-day, Monday through Friday thing.
We're contemplating the ideas of having particular topics for
usually it's Sunday. Whatever we've talked about all week long.
I don't know. If you guys enjoy this, let us know.
Just hanging and spontaneous and not really but yeah, bring in your questions, your stuff, that's what we're excited about too, is that, asking questions, or, do you want a card pulled, but I think that's funny too, that I say that, because Do you want it pulled just for you? But you know what? Every single one of these cards was just for you, just for me, just for everyone who listens whenever they listen, because that's the whole point of it. That's the whole point of synchronicity and vibration and what are you looking for?
Just wondering.
And spontaneity and following your highest joy and excitement. And I wasn't even sure what time I was going to do this today, and then I was like, and then we decided to go to Chinese buffet. So that's what happens.
I'm looking at this deck and these cards, and I'm thinking, I don't think these are
but they are.
They don't really match.
Well, they do. Well, not really. But
normally they sort of match, but these don't really match.
Okay. I looked over Dave's shoulder, and I just got to say, I'm so sorry, you guys, but I just have to show this to you. Number 8. 2024 equals 8. Number 8 card, Bobcat Spirit. Life is a mystery. And that's why we love to do this. Because life is a mystery. Number 8. See, you can't make this stuff up, you guys. And there it was at the bottom of the deck. Bobcat Spirit. So I encourage all of you, invite all of you, any of this information or animal spirits or guides, if it tickles your fancy, look it up, do some searches, do some Google searches on that particular spirit animal, that particular guide, and I can assure you there's at least something in there that's going to touch you, talk to you, a message from our spirit to our collective spirits.
And if you've made it through this video this long,
thank you
very much. We've loved sharing.
We love with you.
And if you do have any particular topics that you'd like us to talk about, please
get me out of here.
Let us know, because we love talking about all kinds of things. And we could do it live. We could make videos.
And yeah, if you guys are, we love having people in the Zoom room too. If you guys want to come in and actually be a part of the action and just be in the room with us, I don't know, be in the room, hear your voice.
So you get to actually be on video if you want to be on video.
And you don't have to. You can keep your camera off.
Talk with your voice.
Just talk with your voice and leave your camera off.
Ask questions and participate.
Or just comment. We love to hear your thoughts, your joys, your not so much joys. Maybe you need a little lift, and that's why I was thinking Sunday would be a good day, because, it's technically the first day of the week, and kind of gets you to helps raise all of our vibrations for the coming week. And maybe it'll help us all, change the way we look at life a little bit, and the sharing. It's all about the sharing. So with that said, we love you. We love you. Thank you for all your sharing. All of you being here, your questions, your comments, your love, your support, all of it, just all of it. I can't thank you enough. Once again, if you're new, my website is Languages of Lights with an S on both.com. Of course, all of the links are always in my descriptions of my videos. And if there's any way that my highest joy and excitement can serve you in any way, please never hesitate to reach out. We're all in this together, and none of you are alone. None of you are too weird or too freaky or too mysterious. Life is a mystery, and let's explore it together. So I will leave you with this light language blessing. Nalivisoto, Shima Ekea Sasote. Manaya, Elevasoboigaya, Ilishono, Shivishono Tvepe Ataya. Sevisono Kurumpete, Zantaya Kateveso Valinde, Kashata, Lezonopaya, Elojoa, Alake, Natea Sova, Niteve Sepe Sebe. The creation is waiting for the mystery that is you to unfold itself and share your mystery with all of us.
I guess you could say we're all writing our own mystery novel.
I like that.
And the universe is excited to read the next chapter.
And don't ever be afraid about what's coming around the next chapter.
Thanks for joining us. We love you.
We love you guys.
Love you.
Mwah. Mwah. Bye, everybody.